Hey everybody, Dr. Vibe and Raymond back again. Had a little bit of a technical challenge. It's been a evening of technical challenges, but you know what? We just get finished. We don't get good, we get done sometimes. So Raymond, welcome back. Sorry about the technical challenges, but you left us off on how you said by the media you were watching, you had to get re-educated about the whole prison justice system. So could you continue on from there, please?
Yes, yeah. So, basically, like I was saying earlier, that there was an interest there and definitely media consumption, but it was very much one-sided, and also presented in a manner that wasn't necessarily painting the whole picture, and so when these hunger strikes came about, that's when we started doing our research, and just because it was such a dominant story, at least through NPR, for people that are relatively connected to what's going on, um, and so I'm hearing all of this information about these hunger strikes, these prisoners that are being force fed, and I don't know if you know the process of force feeding. It makes me cringe just thinking about it, but they basically shove these tubes up your nose that get down
Ah,
into your stomach and then force the food. I mean, yeah, this is what they were doing, to these guys that refused to eat. And really, they were just banding together because they just want some serious reforms in how solitary confinement is used, or just eliminate it completely. Um, so as we start talking to organizations like the ACLU, like Solitary Watch, a couple of folks that have actually been in prison, that have been in solitary confinement for several years, and getting their side of the coin, I'm like, wow, this is nothing like the shows that I've seen. Like, this is like, what is going on, and it's funny because when we started getting this information, we were like, wow, this has got to be our next project, because this is something that's really huge, and people just don't know. They just have no clue. Like in America, which is, I can only speak on behalf of America, but in general, our society, like once you're in prison, we want to forget about you. You're done with, and we don't want to, associate with you in any which way, shape, or form. And especially those that are in solitary, because there's these misconceptions that that if you're in solitary, you're the devil himself. That you did the most atrocious acts that one can think of, and that's by no means is that the case. Um, so when we said, like, okay, this is definitely our project. There's some serious injustice that's going on, and we were originally thinking that we were going to do a feature film, like we did before. But as we started, again, going further down the rabbit hole, and looking not at just solitary, but looking at the larger prison system, looking at the criminal justice system, looking at privatization of prisons, we started to realize, like, there's no way that we can cover all of this in a movie. Not even a 2 or 3 hour movie. Just couldn't happen. And so that's when we came up with the concept of doing this as a web series. So an episodic, basically. And that's kind of where we're at today, So that's a little bit of, where my background, where, in terms of filmmaking, and to date, how I got to where I'm at with being involved with really looking at reforms and changes to the use of solitary confinement in the U.S. and presenting it in our way, through which is through media. I believe that everyone has a voice. Some people do it through writing poetry. Some people do it through phone calls. Some people do it through rallies. Some people like myself do it through films. So if everyone does their part to share their voices in whichever way they feel comfortable, then more power to them. And that's and I will always appreciate people that do that. you know.
absolutely. Well, then let me ask then, was there anything when you got started saying, like you said, this project was overwhelming? I still think with the subject you're handling, it's still an overwhelming challenge. Because, even just mass incarceration itself, that's a huge topic.
It is, and one of the things that we learned from Smuggled, and Smuggled is our film that deals with a mom and son. For those that are watching or listening that aren't aware, it's a film that deals with a mom and son that are being smuggled across the Mexico-U.S. border. And bulk of the film basically just looks at the mom and their son and their relationship. And it's actually not a story necessarily about immigration. It's really a story about a mother and her son. A mother who cares for her son. It's a universal story, right? I mean, most mothers around the world.
Unfortunately, we've lost audio again. This is, and it's unfortunate, folks, because all the other conversations Ramon and I have had, great. All of a sudden, it just dropped off again. So you know what we're gonna do, Ramon? I think we should probably call it and reschedule this because it seems like it's unreliable tonight. I don't know what's going on because it's the second time it sort of just dropped. I know you're not looking happy at all, and I am not happy either. But you know what? I think for our sake and more importantly the viewers' sake, we'll do a retry on this. I'll communicate with you offline, and we'll see where it takes us. But my apologies. And what I'll do is I probably will call you after we get off air right now and see what we can do. Is that fair? All right then, listeners and viewers. Sorry about this. We don't know what's going on. We have no control of this. This is the second time tonight that we've done a conversation. All of a sudden, I cannot hear Raymond, so I don't know if he is being heard by the audience. So I don't want to risk that. So we will catch you on the rebroadcast. So our apologies as always. God bless, peace, well, and keep the faith. Bye bye.